there, and welcome to another episode of Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today we thought we'd talk a little bit about like some food allergies and food sensitivities, and just talk a little bit about food. We know there's a lot going on in the world, talking about various viruses and our exposures and changes of our social engagement with each other. And an interesting thing just to touch upon that is how fear when people are fearful, our decision making and our memory and concentration goes down, and so a lot of the actions that we do are not the most mindful, because we're working out of this kind of more scary place. And as animals, as human beings, we all search for connection, and some of us find connection with other people, and some of us find connection with just being outside with nature, or both. So in the midst of all of this chaos of proposed potential isolationism, don't forget about connection, and where you connect, because isolationism and lack of connection can lead to emotional lability and sadness. And so that's really important to know. So I just want you to be aware of that. So, and know that when you're fearful, how you talk and how you react is very different than when you're not. So just take a few deep breaths and we'll figure this out hopefully as time goes on. So the other thing we're going to talk about is just food allergies and food sensitivities again. I was talking with another patient this week, and we were commenting about how when you're in the workplace, or sometimes when you go to various social gatherings, maybe even more about the workplace, or people bring things into the workplace, food is such an emotional thing where we're trying to show love a lot of times through food. And while our body thinks maybe meat and vegetables would be a super delicious meal, we certainly don't go from workplace to workplace and take a pot roast with vegetables through. No. So many times we'll take cookies or donuts, and I think we're just trying to show affection through food. But isn't it interesting that the food that we're sharing is food that actually makes us kind of feel sick? So maybe we should think about that. It was the first time I actually put those connections together, that if I really love the person that I'm trying to take food to, I'm going to take a non-allergenic food to them that helps them rejuvenate, because that's going to give them energy and make them feel happy, and that's going to be awesome. So just a little thought there. So if we talk about food allergies and food sensitivities, just to reiterate upon that, so your nose, your esophagus, your mouth, your stomach, your small intestine, your large intestine, your rectum, it's all connected as one. So if your stomach a lot of times has a food allergen, a lot of times you'll still have a lot of sinus issues and a runny nose, because it's connected. And so when you swallow a food that you're allergic to, it stimulates your body to give energy away from itself to fight that off. And as it does that, it starts talking to you, and it talks to you by increasing stomach acid. It talks to you by maybe giving you a loose stool or some pain in your stomach, and it's literally telling you, don't eat that. That's what it's saying. So if I literally just take a Pepcid or a pantoprazole, which is like omeprazole or Prevacid, all I'm doing is I'm telling my body, I don't hear you. But my body is still using the energy to mount a reaction against that food, and my nose can also get sniffly. Now, some of us genetically, I do believe, also have different types of, we all have squamous skin, but some of us ooze some of our allergies from our skin, others of us don't, and some of us get like rashes in our hair and our hair falls out. Those are just common things that I see people with food allergies. So just know that anywhere along the tract, you can have a reaction. And a food allergy does not mean you're destined to have an anaphylactic reaction like some people do. Some of it is just a really mild reaction for some people, which includes more heartburn, constipation, diarrhea. Now, there's so much information out there that gluten is bad, wheat is bad, milk is bad, blah, blah, blah. But to me, if I'm saying all these things not to do, that bestills a very negative emotion in me. And I feel like I'm taking something away. So it makes me irritable. Well, the more irritable I am, my body sues for something to soothe it. So then I'll go to eat more bad food, and I get stuck in this circle. So really, I think checking for food allergies and food sensitivities is just easy. You just ask your body the question, and it will tell you the answer. And if you're allergic to milk, don't have milk. If you're not allergic to milk and you want to drink milk, have a good day. If you're allergic to milk and you drink milk and you feel horrible, at least you know why. And that's super empowering. I find that a lot of times if you just eliminate food allergens and food sensitivities for people, and they do a little intermittent fasting, they get great without a lot of other stuff. It's actually kind of super easy, because when you like bite on the side of your mouth, you stop biting on the side of your mouth when you go to sleep and you wake up and it's usually healed. So that same entity happens in your stomach a lot of times. You stop putting that offending agent in that your body's mounting that reaction to. Because you can think of that gastric mucosa, if it's mounting a reaction, there's all this fluid that goes in, and the fluid makes it puffy, and then it doesn't talk to itself right, and then stuff doesn't flow through it right, and so that feels bloated. So that takes a lot of energy, and to me that visual just makes me be like, ugh, that doesn't feel good. So when think of that, life is so hard, right? Our interactions, our social interactions with people within ourselves are so challenging. Those take a ton of energy. Food allergies and food sensitivities are spoken easy. Just ask your body the question, it will tell it the answer. Eliminate the offending agent, do a little intermittent fasting. Gosh knows we've got tons of little supplements that you can take, but ultimately you, yourself, and your body are your answer. You just need the data to understand your body. So that's what I love to do. And so when you think about food allergies are IgE. IgE allergies mount like a histamine reaction. They make your nose run. They make our tissue really kind of swollen. And sometimes I think they elicit more systemic reactions. Systemic means body-wide. IgG and IgA, I tend to think of a little bit more localized. Like if I wake up in the morning and I feel like my tummy's a little flat, but as my day goes on, it gets more bloated. My bloating is because my body's reacting and kind of swelling to those foods that I take in. That's how I think about it. And so I've noted as I've eliminated my own food allergies and food sensitivities, that doesn't happen to me. And I love the way it feels because it feels so much better. And so food sensitivities are IgG and IgA. So how I look at the gastrointestinal tract again is it is just an epithelium. An epithelium is like a skin. It has the outside layer and it has the underneath layer. The outside layer is what you see, but if you like cut my skin in half and look at it, I got that top layer and then I have a bottom layer. So that bottom layer is where all your fight or infection cells are. And your body being so beautifully made, you could think that your body would put a lot of your fight or infection cells in your gastrointestinal tract because it knows there's going to be a lot of stuff you're taking in, and it wants to keep the bad stuff out and the good stuff in. So stress, infection, that kind of makes your gastrointestinal tract break down. So over time, you can develop food allergens. Because people come in and be like, I've never had an allergy before, but really to me, food allergies are a little bit more acquired. Like you have to have, not for everyone, but for a lot of people, you have to have some like issue or some insult to your body, and then your body recognizes the food because 80% of your fight or infection cells are just sitting there waiting to react. They're just waiting. And so if they see it and they see it enough, then they do their job. And their job is to protect you from letting that get inside your body. Well, if it happens to be a banana that you're eating every day, then you're always feeling crummy because your body's always saying, why does this keep coming in? I keep trying to shove it out. And you'd be like, ugh, I don't feel good. And but it's just as easy as a banana. So that is why I'm constantly encouraging people that if you have stomach problems and you've never checked your food allergens or food sensitivities, it's just information. And with information, you can have more mindfulness and you don't have to do so much guessing. And the other thing I'll tell people, because sometimes they'll come in and be like super freaked out that I'm going to tell them not to eat something that they super love. And so I'll challenge them and I'll say, hey, just don't eat that particular food for a couple weeks. Totally prove me wrong. Because I love if this doesn't actually exist, because that means you get more energy back, right? But I want you to go hog wild and eat that food all day long about 2 weeks into it. And what will happen when they come back to see me is they will say they don't want to eat that food anymore. Because once they've done that, then their body mounts a reaction that they can feel, that they can hear. Like they have like really horrible heartburn, they have a lot of gastrointestinal discomfort, or they might have a loose stool. And once you can see, I didn't feel that way, and then I felt that way, and I don't like feeling that way, then no human body really usually loves to feel pain and heartburn and diarrhea. So when you feel empowered, you can act upon that. So if you don't know your food allergies or food sensitivities and you have gastrointestinal issues, I just think it's something that you could explore. I know conventionally I was trained that this really doesn't matter to people, but I just have to say from doing it for the last several years, I really have yet to meet one person that it hasn't made a difference for. And I just love helping people find energy in their body and feeling better. So I'm a believer because my patients have led me to be a believer. It's kind of been very consistent that it pretty much always works. So how about any questions? Great. So no questions today. So I hope you guys have a great day. Just remember to wash your hands. Remember to connect. Take a few deep breaths. Try not to feel so fearful. And we'll see you next week.